There's a certain point that we get to in our lives when, we're so tired of being disappointed. We're so tired of being let down by people who don't meet our standards or our expectations, right? And all we want life to do is to just bring us that person that is right for us. Is to just bring us that relationship that is in alignment with us, right? That is all we want life to do. But something that I came to realize was, before life can bring you that person that is right for you, before life can bring you that relationship that is aligned and healthy and real, life is going to ask you a very important question. Or I should say that life is going to ask something very important of us, right? Or from us. And that thing that life is going to ask of us is, can we say no to situations and circumstances that aren't right for us? Can we let go of people who simply are not in alignment with us? Can we walk away from situations that don't serve us? That is what life is going to ask of us, right? And see, something that I came to realize was, the path to finding the right relationship, the path to finding the right person, it is oftentimes lonely and filled with disappointment. Because most people that you come across, most situations that you find yourself in, they simply aren't going to be for you. Because what is for you will always exist in smaller proportion compared to what is not for you, right? And a lot of us keep ourselves trapped. A lot of us keep ourselves in situations and circumstances that we know deep in our hearts aren't truly meant for us. And in order for us to find what is meant for us, in order for us to find a person or that relationship that is right for us, we have to be willing to walk away from misalignment. We have to be willing to say no to people who don't meet our standards, right? We have to be willing to leave in order for life to bring us into alignment with what is for us, right? And the truth of the matter is this: a lot of us say that we're ready for what is for us. A lot of us say we're ready for that relationship or that person that is right for us. But truthfully, we aren't, right? We say we are, but we aren't. Because being prepared for what is for us means that we have to let go of what is not for us. And when we let go of what is not for us, that can be lonely, right? That can mean periods in which we're not being validated by someone else. That can mean nights in which we have no one laying next to us. That can mean periods in which we want someone to vent to at night, but there's no one there to vent to, right? Life is going to, in a sense, test us before it can bring us what is for us. And that test is simply, are we able to let go of misalignment? Are we able to walk away from situations and circumstances that really don't serve us? That is what life is always going to ask of us. I think a lot of us spend so much of our lives, right? We spend so much of our lives thinking that we need the presence of someone else in order to feel whole. Thinking that we need the presence of someone else to feel good about ourselves or feel validated, so on and so forth. And don't get me wrong, our relationship is a beautiful thing. It is absolutely beautiful to have someone by your side, to have someone there. But we don't recognize just how much of ourselves we lose keeping ourselves in situations and circumstances just so that we can say we have someone there, just so that we don't have to be alone, just so that we don't have to face that feeling of loneliness that we feel. We keep ourselves trapped in misalignment, right? But I think even when we experience that feeling of loneliness, life is asking us us something very important, right? Life is asking us, can we stay in that feeling of loneliness and turn it into solitude? Can we stay in that feeling of loneliness and let go of our codependency? Can we stay in that feeling of loneliness and let go of our need for validation, or let go of the idea that we need someone else in order for us to feel whole, or we need someone else in order for us to truly enjoy our lives, right? That is what life is asking of us, right? Can you be good in that state of loneliness? And can you turn that loneliness into solitude? Right? And this is something that I had to, recognize in my own life. I think for a portion of my life, I thought that if I didn't have someone there romantically, that meant that there was something sort of missing from my life, right? And in my earlier years, I would put up with a lot of stuff just to say that I'm talking to somebody, just to say that I have someone there. I would keep myself in situations and circumstances that I know truly in my heart aren't right for me. And it was because I was trying to escape a particular feeling. I was trying to escape a sort of feeling of loneliness that I was experiencing, right? Or I was trying to escape the lack of self-love, the lack of self-esteem that I felt. And I thought that having someone there, having someone to validate me, having someone to tell me how good I look, having someone to, in a sense, be there, was going to, in a sense, prove that I was worthy or valuable in a sort of sense, right? And so I was okay with misalignment. But currently in my life right now, after you've, sort of experienced different circumstances and experienced different relationships, so on and so forth, and you're just tired of the misalignment, you're just tired of the toxicity, you're just tired of finding yourself in unhealthy situations, you are sort of okay with being alone now. Right? You have sort of made a pact with yourself to say that you're willing and ready to walk away from what doesn't serve you, even if it means being by yourself, so that you can find the person that is right for you, or find a relationship that is right for you, right? After so many different times of being disappointed and let down, you begin to sort of choose that solitude, or choose that path of loneliness, right? Quote unquote loneliness. And you begin to recognize that having possession of yourself, being in your own solitude, being by yourself is always better than losing yourself to someone else, or losing yourself to a situation that isn't healthy for you, right? So that loneliness that you feel, or that aloneness that you feel, right? It is very important for us to be willing to embrace that on our path to finding what is right for us, on our path to finding ourselves, with a person that is truly in alignment with us, or is truly willing to share our space without taking away from us, right? It is very important. You don't want to go most of your life thinking that you need someone else in order for you to enjoy yourself. Thinking that you need someone else in order to start living. Thinking that your sense of self and your self-worth is dependent on someone else, and if someone else isn't there, you can't be happy or you can't experience joy, right? Recognizing that loneliness, recognizing that aloneness is a beautiful thing. And in that loneliness or in that aloneness is when you sort of discover that there is already joy right here. There is already love right here. Everything that we think we need in someone else already exists right within us. And it is about sitting in that feeling. It is about enduring that feeling, right? Sitting in it and recognizing that we're not missing anything. And recognizing that on our path to finding what is right for us, on our path to meeting the person that is in alignment with us, we have to be willing to endure that loneliness or endure that period of aloneness or solitude, right? We have to be willing. Because what is right for us, what is in alignment with us, can't truly show up in our lives if we keep holding on to what is not right for us, right? Or if we keep holding on to that misalignment, right? You have to be willing to walk away. You have to be willing to say, I'm not putting up with that. You have to be willing to say, I'm going to choose myself. And if choosing myself means that there's going to be periods in my life in which I find myself alone, I'm willing to endure that. I'm willing to embrace that. Because having possession of myself, having my peace, having my joy, having my mental health intact is way better than having someone in my life who takes away from me. Right? So the path of finding the right relationship, it is often lonely. It is often filled with disappointment. But you have to be willing to embrace that. You have to be willing to sit in that. You have to be willing to transform that loneliness into solitude. Transform that loneliness into love. Transform that loneliness into you recognizing that you are already whole within. And your happiness, your sense of self, your fulfillment, your peace, your joy, your love, none of it depends on the presence of someone else. Right? So life in a sense is always going to sort of test us in certain ways. And it's not in a malicious way. I don't think life is doing that maliciously. But everything in life, everything that we experience, I'm sort of recognizing that it is always trying to lead us back to ourselves. And in a certain type of way, life is constantly trying to show us that, we're not missing anything. And once we think we're missing something and we go in search of it in the world or in someone else, we're always going to be let down. And seeing that wholeness within ourselves, recognizing that we're already whole, independent of anything external, is sort of the path to having that wholeness being reflected back to us. If we're talking about just external things or a relationship or so on and so forth. Alright? So yeah. Finding the relationship that is right for you is oftentimes lonely and filled with disappointment. But we have to be willing to endure that. We have to be willing to sit with that feeling and choose ourselves, as opposed to finding ourselves in situations and circumstances which aren't right for us, just so that we can say that we have someone there. Even though they take away from our health, they take away from our self-esteem, they take. So being comfortable in that loneliness, being comfortable in that solitude is very important on your path to finding the right person and finding yourself in the right relationship. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.